What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing another crazy spicy submission, this time from Shenanigan Stone, who's running the full Shadow Forces Nature trio in the Open Great League, but with a shiny Shadow Landorus, which is an insane flex by the way, but it also got buffed this season with Earth Power now costing less energy. Now linking this submission to yesterday's question of the day, there was actually a bug last year I think in the lead up to the Nova Tour, where you could catch the Forces of Nature trio in their incarnate forms with their signature moves that should only be available on the Therian forms, and this is a bug that I was able to capitalize on. I have all three of these Pokemon built with the signature moves for the Ultra League, but as it is a bug, unfortunately, those signature moves aren't even available via Elite Charge TM, which does really hold the Shadow forms back, as of course they've released a lot later on where you now unfortunately can't get those moves. Now of course this is a really hard team to run, but I can assure you this is going to be a very entertaining video. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What would be your dream shiny Shadow Legendary Pokemon to catch in Pokemon Go? This doesn't have to be a Pokemon already available as a Shadow, it could be any Pokemon that is currently in the game, but let me know in the comment section down below. And with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Let's go into the first battle, leading shiny Shadow Landorus into a purified Altaria. So this is going to be a tricky matchup for us. Of course, Mud Shots are double resisted. Rock Slide is super effective. However, the opponent is going to shield the first charge move. They're also going to go straight for a Sky Attack here. We're going to shield the first move, and then the opponent is eventually going to look to swap out and catch the next Rock Slide onto their turret. Rock Slide going to connect. It does just over half their HP. We're going to come in with Tornadus, and honestly, Tornadus, one of the most useless Pokemon in the entire game, at least in its incarnate form here, as it's got the choice of either Air Slash or Bite for fast moves, but we do get the full fast move farm down, and we full send a Dark Pulse. Now, Tornadus did actually also get buffed this season with Hurricane. However, Hurricane with Air Slash just takes way too long to get to. I believe there's maybe 1 or 2 battles with this trainer running Hurricane, but unfortunately, I don't think we even get to see it used. But either way, we're able to swap out, catch the Sky Attack, as the opponent comes in with their final Pokemon. But of course, with Altaria in the lead, it's going to be an Empoleon in the back. Brick Break grabs a shield, but the opponent trying to go for an aggressive farm down that massively backfires as Thunder Punch gets the one shot. They come back in with the Altaria, and we're just 1 away from the Rock Slide. We actually accidentally over-tapped there, but it doesn't really matter. Rock Slide gets the knockout, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, gonna see a Gastrodon in the lead, so that's a fine matchup for us. We're actually gonna swap out of that matchup, however, and I guess this is kind of good to bait this Pokemon out. However, I guess Thundurus is gonna have a decent time with Brick Break coverage, but either way, unfortunately, we're just gonna fully sacrifice Tornadus, and I think we will see that quite commonly in these battles, is that Tornadus, basically, we just don't invest any shields. We fully sacrifice it, use it as a third shield, but here we are gonna go for a Brick Break with our Thundurus. Brick Break, number 1, gonna be shielded, but we're able to reach a second Brick Break here into Morpeko. Brick Break number 2, gonna be double shielded, and then they don't commit to a full farm down, instead going for another Aura Wheel, but now of course they are double debuffed in their defense. These Mud Shots really chunking, and we get the perfect farm down. Now they come back in with the Gastrodon, and here unfortunately it looks like we lagged there. We go for 4 Mud Shots, so that should have been great timing, but we give away a full Mud Slap in there, so not ideal for us whatsoever. We're gonna shield, they go for an Earth Power, which is a strange decision, but their final Pokemon is a Camera Up. Now, interestingly, we're not full sending the Earth Power. Rock Slide doesn't get the KO. We are so low in HP, but we just barely hang on, living 1 more Mud Slap. Rock Slide gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, I'm going to see Galarian Weezing, so this is a great matchup for us. Of course, these Mud Shots are super effective, and here, this is not enough energy for a potential Overheat or a Play Rough, so we are going to shield anyways. I personally wouldn't have shielded there, but either way, we're now going to look to overfarm quite a lot in this matchup, and then fire for Rock Slide. Rock Slide going to be shielded. We've got a second Rock Slide already loaded. We had the Earth Power as well, but Rock Slide actually enough damage, even neutral and non-stab to get the knockout, and now they come in with a Togedemaru, and this is such a strange decision here, but we, of course, gonna have to stay in. Never mind, no, we're actually gonna swap out, catch a charge move here, as the opponent one-shots us with a Wild Charge, but they drop their defense, meaning we go for a full farm down. Unfortunately, just barely not able to get that farm down before they reach another Wild Charge, but their final Pokemon is going to be a Fire Spin Rapidash, and that's game over. Earth Power gets the one-shot, and we're able to take that game. Alright, so heading into the next battle, we're going to see a Clodsire in the lead. This is a great lead matchup for us. The opponent is eventually going to swap out into a Feraligatr. We farm to the Earth Power, and we're going to bait with a Rockside. Rockside not going to be shielded, and now we're going to come in with the Tornadus. Now, Tornadus, unfortunately, I don't think we will live a Hydro Cannon plus the Shadow Claw damage, as we are a pure flying type Pokemon, which is quite rare in the Pokemon franchise. I believe only Corvisquire is another pure flying type Pokemon in the game, and maybe it's pre-evolution Rookie D or whatever it's called. Either way, doesn't matter. Stone Edge gets the one shot. And now we are going to wait out our Switch Shock here before coming in with our Landorus. And the final Pokemon is Serperior. So definitely Tornadus would have been much better in this matchup. However, we realized if we take out the Feraligatr there, Thundurus does have an awful matchup into the Clodsire. So I guess we were trying to make sure that we didn't just allow a massive farm down. But either way, not in a great situation here. However, Frenzy Plant doesn't get the knockout. And that is actually huge for us because now we can reach a second Brick Break. And Brick Break grabs the final shield. We've got a lot of energy. The opponent tries to catch a Rockside, but we look to overfarm. Earth Power gets the knockout. They come back in with the Serperior, and of course, Rockside from this range should be enough damage, even non-stab, to take out the Serperior, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Licky in the lead. So this is going to be not the worst matchup for us just because we are taking neutral damage from the rollouts, whereas of course up against our backline, rollout will hit for super effective damage. They just go straight for a Body Slam there. Here we're going to throw on really poor timing, which is definitely not ideal up against a 3-turn fast move as we give them 3 free turns, but we're now going to reach another Rockside and the opponent not going to bother shielding. So actually maybe not throwing on the best timing there, kind of caught the opponent off guard there, and as a result the opponent doesn't want to shield. So now we come in with our Tornadus, and the opponent is going to swap into a Ninetales. Now at this point, we are going to unfortunately be outpaced very easily by the Ninetales. We do have access to Hurricane, but we are going to bait with a Grass Knot. Surely they shield here, but no, they actually let that go through, and that bait really does not pay off at all. Unfortunately, going to have to double shield here. We do get the full farm down. We're going to swap out straight away as the opponent, they banked an Energy Ball here. Of course, that's going to get the knockout, and we should actually resist all the charge moves on our Thundurus. Whether or not that actually allows us to reach, live an Acrobatics is going to be a different question. But Brick Break going to grab the shield here, and let's see, the opponent, they go for Acrobatics, but unfortunately that doesn't get the knockout. Instead, it allows the farm down, and as a result, you can see if we landed a single more Air Slash, we could get the full farm down, but we're forced to throw here, and unfortunately, despite the fact that once again we resist the Energy Ball, that's going to get the knockout there, and unfortunately we lose that game. But into the next battle, we're going to see a Kilowattrel in the lead. That is an interesting spice pick here from the opponent. We're going to look to overfarm and then farm a Rockside here. Rockside should be enough damage up against a Kilowattrel to get the knockout, and so we do grab a shield. We're also going to look to shield in return. They go for an Aerial Ace there. That's fine with us. We're now going to go straight for Rockside number 2 here. And are they going to double shield? Rockside is going to be double shielded. So at this point, we're probably also going to look to double shield. We should be able to win CMP in this matchup, so we are going to see the opponent's going to swap out into Skeledirge, but that's absolutely fine with us as we can reach the Earth Power. Earth Power easily gets the one shot up against the Skeledirge, and they come in with a Quagsire. Now we swap out straight away, not into the best matchup here as we come in with our Thundurus, but the opponent randomly goes for a Mud Bomb for some reason. I'm not really sure about that. I guess maybe they thought we we're just a pure electric type Pokemon, but we are literally floating in the air. But either way, we're going to reach back-to-back Brick Breaks, throwing on CMP, winning CMP. Brick Break gets the knockout there after debuffing their defense the first time, and now we're able to reach a departing Thunder Punch, but Thunder Punch should be enough damage to take out the Kilowattrel, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Galarian Stunfisk in the lead. So this is going to be a great matchup for us, of course. They're going to have Rockside for coverage, but it's only going to hit for neutral damage here. We are still going to shield, which I'm quite surprised by, and we're also going to go for a very risky Rockside bait. Rockside not respected, that is double resisted. And now we're just swapping it to Tornadus. I don't really understand what the decision here is, but it's going to get completely one-shot there by a Rockside. And again, we're baiting. They didn't shield the first. Rockside, number 2, unfortunately called again. What are we doing? Just go for the Earth Power here. But hopefully we have at least put them into Mudshot farm down range. And the opponent, I mean, they might not have a great response here as they didn't swap out at all. They're going to come in with a second Mudshotter, this time in the form of Greedent. We go for Rockside this time. Finally, we do grab a shield there with the bait. bait, but honestly, at that point, I probably would have just full sent another Earth Power. Either way, we're going to swap out. They go for a Crunch here, and now they come in with Lucario, where we can go straight for Brick Break. Brick Break, super effective. They don't shield. That allows the Thunder Shock farm down, and actually, we can reach another Brick Break, and this should now wrap the game up for us, as I believe we've already got the Earth Power loaded. Brick Break gonna drop the defense, so that means Earth Power guaranteed to get the knockout. They go for Trailblaze. We overfarm for some reason. Please just throw the charge move straight away. Earth Power coming through, gets the knockout, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, very positive lead matchup for us as we lead into Alolan Raichu. We are going to swap out here. I'm not really sure why we're swapping out and catching a charge move. A Surf is not quite going to one-shot us, but it does just allow them to fully farm us down there. Yeah, strange decisions here in terms of like catching charge moves. We could have just thrown a charge move ourselves, but either way, Rock Slide going to be shielded. We're now going to look to shield anyways, as we have now seen, of course, they're on Surf, but they're going to swap out into Unova Stunfisk, which is quite interesting to be running ABA double electric, but Earth Power going to grab the final shield from the opponent. We're going to have to shield here, and the opponent is going to allow us to reach another Earth Power here, as they went for a Mud Bomb for some reason. Not really sure what that means. They just don't have discharge at all. Either way, Earth Power gets the KO. They come back in with the Raichu. This time we do kind of have to swap out there. And of course, whatever they throw is going to get the knockout. But hopefully they are triple weak to the ground typing here. But no, it's going to be an Alolan Ninetales on Charm. Okay, Powder Snow, of course, that would have been really bad for us. But Charm still gets the full farm down there. And unfortunately, we lose that game. But honestly, at such like low-level battles as these, like it's really hard to team read because the teams, they literally just don't make any sense. I mean, we're seeing a Porygon Z for crying out loud. Here, we're going to go for a Rock Slide. Rock Slide going to be shielded. Now, this Pokemon does have access to Blizzard. I would probably recommend shielding anything anyways, but they actually full send the Blizzard there. That does mean that we can now go for a bit of a overfarm as they swap out into a Dunsparce. We go for Earth Power, dealing big damage, and now we swap into our Thundurus. We are going to shield as they fire off the Rock Slide. We're now going to look to overfarm. We don't throw on the best timing at all there. Not really sure why we didn't go for at least one more Thunder Shock, but the opponent not going to bother shielding, so I guess it doesn't really make a huge difference. We're now going to go for a Thunder Punch. Brick Break does cost the same energy, and it is super effective as well. It does drop that defense there, so no real reason to go for a Thunder Punch instead of Brick Break here. But either way, they full send another Blizzard, so we're going to come in with the Tornadus, and the opponent's going to come in with a Starmie, which did get buffed this season, but are they on Aqua Jet? Nope, they're still on Surf. Either way, should be fine for us, as we're now going to look to overfarm. We are getting very low, though, from the Psywave damage. We go for Rock Slide. Rock Slide gets the knockout, and we can just barely hang on, living the lock-on damage, surviving with 1 HP in a dream. Rock Slide gets the knockout, and we just barely take that game. Now, Starmie is actually a Pokemon that I really want to showcase this season with Aqua Jet. However, unfortunately, I've been absolutely screwed over with the Charge TM system. I've used nearly 30 TM so far. I'm just trying to get a coverage of either Power Gem or Ice Beam. I honestly don't care which one. I'll happily take either, but my TMs just keep on flipping between Hydro Pump, Surf, Psy Beam, Psychic, and then occasionally I also get Thunder as well, which it is at least coverage, but it's just not that great coverage there. But yeah, unfortunately, just not been able to get the moves that I want there, which is really frustrating. But either way, we're going to go for a Rock Slide Bait, which we throw on CMP, winning CMP. And this time, it is shielded by the Bastion. That would have been really awkward if they no shielded there. But this time, we're full sending Earth Power. Earth Power gets the knockout, but their final Pokemon is a Skeledirge, and unfortunately, by farming us down, they will easily outpace us to the next charge move, and there's just not a lot Thundurus can do. They actually do overfarm quite a bit here for some reason, but unfortunately, Thunder Punch is not going to be enough damage. It doesn't quite get the knockout. If we had Crunch for coverage, honestly, we might have got the win there, but Shadow Ball gets the knockout, and unfortunately, we lose that game. But into the next battle, we're going to see Livani in the lead. We're actually going to swap out straight away into our Air Slash user, getting off a couple of Air Slashes before they swap out there, dealing huge damage in the process. But Grass Knot going to be shielded by the Togekiss. Now, we're going to come in with our Thundurus. We should be able to shield once, and I believe they're on Charm here, so we should be able to just go for a full farm down. They full send a Dazzling Gleam as well, which is really nice for us because that means they don't get to another charge move. They now come back in with Livani, and we've only got resisted damage to throw. It doesn't really matter what we throw here because we will need 2 charge moves to get the knockout, but maybe Brick Break would be better just to debuff the defense. Either way, Thunder Punch gets the knockout. They come in with a counter Lucario, which is not great for us as we do allow a full farm down. However, we don't know what charge charge boosts they're running. They could be on flash cannon for all we know. We're going to shield. They full send a Shadow Ball, and that should now put things in our hands here, as even though Rock Slide is double resisted, it should get the knockout after the Mud Shot damage, and because they full send the Shadow Ball, they don't reach another charge move. Rock Slide gets the knockout, and we're able to take that game. Now going into, I believe, the final battle of this video, leading into an Electabuzz. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. This should be very positive for us. We're actually going to shield. We definitely should not be shielding. This thing can only learn electric type moves unless you have a purified version, which is actually quite difficult to obtain for the Great League. But either way, they're going to swap into Lapras. Quite surprised that we went for an Earth Power there rather than Rock Slide. But either way, we're going to come in with the Thunderous as they fire off a Sparkling Aria. We're now going to look to overfarm here, maybe throw off the count of the opponent, and we go for a Brick Break bait. Brick Break gonna be shielded. That is very nice for us because now Thunder Punch will definitely get the knockout, and it does exactly that. They come back in with a Unovan Stunfisk. Somehow they get to a charge move here. I guess this must be a Muddy Water, and it is going to be a Muddy Water, which we're actually able to tank. It does drop our attack there, which isn't ideal, but it doesn't really matter too much. We can come back in with the Landorus, and we are going to actually swap out and catch a charge move. That is an interesting play. The opponent goes for another Muddy Water there, this time not debuffing our attack stat. However, if they go for another one, they might actually get the perfect farm down, which could be very awkward for us. But no, we do just barely reach a Grass Knot. Grass Knot is super effective damage, and remember, we've already got the Earth Power loaded for the Electabuzz coming back in, so we're going to throw it straight away. And of course, super effective damage, it easily gets the knockout, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Now if you want to take your support to the next level, you can become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments of every video. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has become a channel member already. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.